You take a look at the issue, of course, of resources and socioeconomics, but also of race. You feature a woman named Dr. Stephanie
Parks,
who is really brilliant, PhD, who's a Black woman, married to a Black man, Black son, who is really wonderful. I wanted to see more of his life and behavior and so on. But talk to me about why you featured her and this issue of how it's looked at as in terms of, it was super racist at one point. I mean, still is, I'm sure.
Well, what was racist, and not in the white hood kind of racism, but more the sort of ingrown systemic racism of attitudes unconsciously. In the 50s and the 60s, there was a belief on the part of psychiatry, I mean the institution of psychiatry, to the degree that it knew anything about autism.
Yeah.
There was a belief that the children who were autistic came from families of highly, highly educated and highly successful individuals. And that's partly because the people who had access to a psychiatrist in the 50s and 60s were generally professional people, people who had had a lot of education and who were going to go see a psychiatrist with their child, whereas that really wasn't that common a thing in the 50s and 60s. And so successful people who had PhDs and MDs and other kinds of degrees and high-level executive jobs in the 50s and 60s were white people. And so it literally was kind of the leap was made literally that, autistic children are only born to families where the parents are really, really highly educated and highly, highly intelligent.
I was astonished. That was what I was most shocked to learn in your film.
So who did that rule out in the 50s and 60s? It ruled out people of color from having children of color from having the diagnosis because they didn't have the right kind of parents, was the belief. And it was completely undeliberate and unconscious, but it had an impact that people, children of color who were autistic couldn't get that diagnosis. They were diagnosed with all kinds of other things. Sometimes it was blamed on bad parenting or emotional issues or broadly insanity. And so that
still is, right?
Yeah,
sorry?
that's what I was going to say. I mean, we've come a long way, but not nearly far enough, and the numbers still show you that.
Yeah, it still lingers.
And we're, that was something that when we were reporting and producing the film, that we really thought was important to get in there, that race and people of color and people of lower socioeconomic means, really have a different life that's a lot more challenging, and that society they really need to get it. And in order for there to be a more level playing field for everyone.